Regional news. Ethiopia is set to become Eastern Africa's biggest economy with a GDP of 156 billion US dollars. Now this is growing from 126 billion US dollars according to the IMF. This places Ethiopia's economy third in the sub-Saharan African space, just behind Nigeria and South Africa. It's Money and Markets. I'm Charles Boyd, your host. Welcome to the show. In the world where we live today, times are tough. And times are not only tough in Uganda, but globally. Now, times like these call for concerted effort. And today, people are seeing the potential that faith-based organizations have in driving economic transformation. Now, in the boardroom segment today, we pick the story of one of the pastors who shares the same sentiments.
We started this work in the year 2009 to be precise, but the actual work in terms of developing people, starting coffee or other initiatives took off a year later at around October 2010. When we started working here, we realized that poverty was so eminent. People were poor, but at the same time remembering the fact that this is the place where aid started in Uganda. And this place, because of that, our people had gotten so much taken into relief. Everything had been given free. So those organizations which came were giving people free stuff. And people had developed that relief mentality. But when all the organizations left, they left even without winning the HIV war. So people fell back to disease and poverty. So when we came, we said, no, I think people can deal better with their diseases if they have money in their pockets. So we started our transformation work through coffee farming. And as we do that work, me being a pastor, and I saw what other NGOs, the way they had organized the work, I said, okay, let me use an institution where I have authority. So my work, I embedded it into reaching out to communities through the local church. I'm an evangelical Pentecostal pastor. So I used the Pentecostal network of churches to reach out to the families. So our formula is one church, one pastor, one family. So you change one pastor, you change one congregation. When you change one congregation, you change one family, plus other families in the community. So as we speak now, we have developed a network of more than 3,000 families. Now, if each one of them, you've given them an acre of coffee. So we have developed over 3,000 acres of coffee. But of course, many other farmers are far beyond 1 acre because it goes with our statistics of more than 2.8 million seedlings of coffee we have planted. And that has also pushed us to start our own nursery facilities because the demand is high. So that journey has seen us from 7 farmers to 3,000 farmers. It has seen us from 1 acre of coffee to about 10,000 acres of coffee. It has seen us from 2,100 coffee seedlings to 2.8 million seedlings. It has seen us from having people who are involved in coffee farming and they don't know marketing, to have our own coffee processing plant, establishment of a coffee export system, and developing what we call traceability. Traceability is very key in this work because if farmers are traced back, for instance, if I sell a container of coffee somewhere and they find it adulterated, maybe it is smelling petrol or what. If you come to our system here, we can trace back and say this container has coffee of so and so and so and so. But along this journey, we got in connection with an association called New Cafe. New Cafe, they introduced us to Abbey Trust some time back because during our selling of coffee, we didn't have capital. And Abbey Trust facilitated New Cafe to extend some funding facilities for us to buy farm coffee and sell it to better markets. That was the first stint we had with Abbey Trust. It didn't go far. We finished one season and that project ended, and maybe it continued somewhere else. But as of now, we are glad to come back to Abbey Trust, knowing that now we heard about the Green Challenge. But by that time, we had come to a point of realizing that the environment is changing so rapidly. Our coffee farmers are getting stressed with drought. They don't have water. And a few years back, we had innovated our butterfly water catchment system for irrigation. So we said, wait a minute, we can participate in this. And also, we had learned about macadamia tree. We had started planting a macadamia mother garden. That time, it was the right time when we heard about this Green Challenge program. So the Green Challenge came, we applied, we put together our concept. Our concept has 4 major components in it. Component number 1 is to improve coffee for high yielding. But you cannot improve coffee for high yielding if your coffee can still be stressed by drought. So component number 2 was water collection, where we develop ponds which can collect water between 30 to 40,000 liters of water. So even if the farmer is not farming right at the river, he or she can still have enough water to take care of 1 to 2 acres of coffee. So component number 3 of our Green Challenge, we looked at the macadamia tree to provide us with shade to protect our coffee, with a nut to turn around income, with the flower to bring about honey, and with the firewood, because when the trees will grow big, when you prune them, you cut these branches, you can always have a heap of firewood. So that releases pressure from our natural resources. So we looked at the macadamia as a wonder tree for us. And then component number 4 of our Green Challenge was beekeeping. So we integrated all the 4 together, and we handed in our proposal to Abbey Trust, and Abbey Trust considered our concept to be a good one, and here we are. Right now, where we are, we have our proposal is of 200 farmers. We have profiled all the 200 farmers, all of them. We have gotten their consent to go by the standards of the project, the program. Right now, as we speak, our team is already dispatched to train 1,000 farmers. The target farmers on this project is 200. So that is the number we are going to give all the 4 components. The Green Challenge Fund and Abbey Development, that thing is going to, that collaboration, that grant is going to turn around the lives of our people financially. You know, we had to do some math when we also, when we got involved in this program. 1, we looked at the outcome of coffee per acre. Okay. When we compared, because we have all the data, we compared the output per acre when you have good rains and the outcome per acre when you don't have good rains during drought. So we realized that, look, wait a minute, if this program can support the irrigation systems, the water ponds, the butterfly, it will bring us still much more closer to high yields of our coffee if we get normal rains. So we put that math there. And also put math around every 1 macadamia tree. If a farmer is a very hardworking farm, we benchmarked, went to Amafa farm, and we did a lot of research. Surprisingly, by the time we got in touch with Abbey Development and Green Challenge Fund, some people scattered around the country and started doing macadamia. So we went, we saw the macadamia factory and this huge farm, and we asked the financial impact and, of a macadamia tree. If a farmer does well, a macadamia tree can give you 50 to 80 kilos of coffee, of nut in shell, a full year. And another surprising thing is a macadamia tree never ceases to drop a kernel. Every day it drops. It just has one peak season, but every day it flowers, every day it drops. So we put some math together, and at Amafa Farm, a kilo of nut in shell is 5,000 shillings. But there's a market we're already working with where they buy a kilo in nut at 8,000 shillings. So if I get 80 kilos per tree, let me conservatively put it at 5,000 shillings. That means every year my tree is going to give me 400,000 shillings. And in an acre of coffee and macadamia, we put 30 trees of macadamia. So if I have 30 times 5,000 times 8,000 with my enough water plus my coffee and my honey, our calculation, we are targeting a farmer to get not less than 15 million shillings from 1 acre of integrated coffee, macadamia, and beekeeping.